Welcome back, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. I am playing again, back to back to back to back. My voice hopefully will hold up through this, but I gotta see what happens with this war, and I imagine you do too. So we have our martial training troops. We look at the military tab and see that we have done pretty well. We can check Kildare, see what his maximum troop is right now. He's got 909, so we have more than him just by ourselves. But this guy can be tricky. Our father will hopefully provide us with some of his levy, and he has 813 available, and hopefully we will get all or most of that. So how do you declare war? Well, easiest way, click on the county you want to go to war with, or that you have a claim for. Click on that character. Make sure he doesn't have a liege. If he has a liege, you'll have to declare war with his liege. He doesn't. So we'll go to conduct diplomacy and declare war. A couple episodes ago, I explained what this claim did, but you always want to check before you click it and go to war. You want to check and just make sure that you know exactly what's going to happen in the event that you win, peace, or lose the war. Because sometimes you may be pushing a claim, you clicked on the wrong button or something, and you're not going to end up with a county. You're going to go to war for nothing. Or if you lose the war, it's just going to be, it's just the downside is too much. You just want to double check that. So we do gain the county of Kildare if we win. The other guy loses 100 prestige. If we peace, we lose 100 prestige. If we lose the war, we lose 150 prestige. We lose 100 gold, and we lose our claim on the title. We really don't want to lose. But, hey, let's go. We got our new military commander that we're going to put in charge of our army, so we don't have to do it. We'll send. Immediately, you're at war. You can't declare war when you have armies raised. At least when you have levy raised. There is a particular army, I'll mention it real quick. We can't afford it right now. But if you can have a retinue, and we'll talk about this more in the future, you won't be able to have one at the beginning of the game. But a retinue is basically just a standing army. This is one of the things that is not particularly new anymore, but it's actually something you won't see in a lot of tutorials from Crusader Kings II because they're from earlier versions. So that is a standing army. It's always up. It costs money to reinforce. It costs money to buy, but it reinforces all the time in the field when you're fighting in enemy territory. They're really cool to have, and once your neighbors have them, you basically have to have them as well, or else you're at a significant disadvantage. But we have the game paused still, and while we do, we're going to call our father into the war. Click on him, click on Conduct Diplomacy, Call to Arms. Now it also comes up here and tells you the same thing, that we can call an ally, so you click there, and it'll just jump to this immediately. Claim Kildare, we want him to join this war. Maybe? Well, we can look at the pluses and minuses and see, definitely. We are his heir, he wants us to win, so he will join. We'll send that, it'll take a while, it'll take a few days. In the meantime, I will click on the military tab, and we'll look at our vassal army, what they can provide, and we'll also look at our levies. And this is where we can raise our levies. This is the easiest way, especially when you have one county. You just come here, click there, and it'll raise all of our personal armies from our domain. In all of our castles that we own, remember it's landed holdings that we own, all of our levies will be raised. The other way to do it is you can click on the actual county that you want to raise from, and you can raise local liege levies, which would raise not only our own holding there at the bottom, but also our mayor's holding, our vassal. Or you can click on the castle, and you can click raise levy here, which will raise just the levy from this castle, just that levy. But we'll do it from the military tab, because then we can see that it's going to cost us $268 per month to take care of our levy, our army. We can see that we make $215 a month, so we're going to lose about half a gold a month, which is fine. We got plenty of time with that. I will raise our vassal levies. We click there. You see the number went up slightly, not very much. And you'll see that there is no monthly cost there, because our vassal is paying for this army to be raised. You think, oh great, well I'll use my vassal armies anytime I can. Yeah, well, there is the benefit to that. But since it's costing him money, he's going to start getting perturbed that you're using his troops. And after a while, you're going to get this warning. It'll actually come up pretty quickly that vassal levies have been raised too long. And every so many days, months, whatever it happens to be, probably based on your diplomacy score, you'll get a -1 opinion modifier to those vassals. But we'll be okay for a little while. Now we have two armies here. We have ours. We can put the mouse over it and see we have the army of Earl Murchad of Dublin, and we have the Dubliner army from the city of Dublin. And it also tells you what types of troops. We can look at the holdings and see there also the types of troops: light infantry, pikemen, archers, heavy infantry, light cavalry. They all have pluses and minuses to them. More or less, we're going to have similar makeups in armies right now, but you can affect this in the future. You can also raise ships. We do have 12 ships. They won't come into play here. He's landlocked. And we'll see what our dad raises. But one thing to look at, and I'm going to get the time going a little bit, is you'll see he actually managed to raise more armies than us because both his bishop and his mayor gave him some army, whereas we didn't get any from our bishop. Great. Our father says, of course he will meet his obligation. And you'll see that this bar for all of us is a morale bar. And morale is basically how you win fights, how you win battles in Crusader Kings II. We can also see this just by clicking on the army. And we can see that we have full morale. Your personal holdings always get raised with full morale, 100% morale. However, the other army, we can cycle to the city army, it has low morale. And it has to increase. It's increasing 8.4% per week, which is decent. Now, you see theirs are at half. That's because they combine their army. We can do the same thing by dragging a square around both armies and go to this button up here. Oh, sorry, not that one. This one. Merge the selected units. And look, the vassals are already mad that we've raised their armies. So we can combine as well, and you'll see that it averages out the morale. Now I'm going to pause real quick because we can also reorganize if we want. We have different flanks. We're in the center flank. We have people on both sides of us as well. Unfortunately, there's nobody here. This is where our bishop's army would have gone. Our father has connected his army to ours. We can see that here on the little chain. It says that he's attached. The falling units are attached. We can't make him attached, but he's chosen to. He's letting us choose what to do. And unfortunately, I don't know where his army is going to end up. I can't choose to put it in a flank. He may end up in the middle with us. He may end up on one of the sides. I'm not really sure. But if we wanted to, we could combine these few troops over here with us. It might not be a bad idea. These guys are going to get routed no matter what, but they may buy us some time. But if we only had one flank, then they would be flanking us from the side flanks, and they would be getting quite a bit of a multiplier for doing so. From here, I can also choose to appoint a different leader, which I want to do. I want to use our awesome marshal dude. Look at that, 18. Hopefully that'll help us win. So we got more troops. We got a great leader to our army. This has no leader, but there's nothing we can do about that. And we can mouse over that and see nobles are too autonomous to be accepted, to accept being replaced as leaders or to even put leaders over them, at least these peasants or whomever they are, because crown authority is too low. Well, there is no crown authority because we're not a kingdom. But let's fight. So we can select our troops. We can move them into this county by right-clicking with the right mouse button. And we'll see a little arrow. This will fill up as they get closer. This guy's kind of in the way. But we can also mouse over the flag here and see that our armies, they're connected. So they'll arrive at the same time. They'll arrive in Kildare on March 26th. And once they do, we'll start the fight. Had he been moving to try to get away, and he may try, he probably won't. But it would say when he was going to arrive wherever he was going, and we'd see whether we'd beat him or not, or whether we'd have to chase him around. And he is going to move. He's going to move into Dublin. And we're going to get there first, which is good, because if we look at this guy, we can mouse over his martial skill. And because he is aggressive, he actually does more damage when he's attacking. You see, defense is -2% and -20% because he's an aggressive leader. So we do want him to attack and not defend. Which we will, because we'll get there first. Okay, we'll get the clock going. I'm going to pause it real quick just to show you what's going on. So, we do have only 2 flanks. He's going to flank us over here, and he's going to get a bonus because he's flanking, 30%. The first phase of battle is called the skirmish phase. That's when our archers attack each other. They volley a bunch of arrows at each other and try to whittle down the armies before the infantry goes in. And this takes a little while. We have quite fewer number of troops here, but it's keeping us from getting flanked on both sides, which is good. Now again, this is morale. This isn't number of troops. And actually, wow, we did pretty good there for a little bit considering there was no leader. Now he beat the morale here. He beat them down low enough where they started to retreat. So now we're getting flanked from every side, which isn't good, but hopefully we got the numbers and the morale from this guy, hopefully, to deal with that. You can mouse over here and see what sort of tactics they're using in each phase. They're using a shield wall to defend against our... I don't know if he's using a tactic at all right now. Oh, sorry, I was a little bit too close to that. He's using the harass tactic. These guys are volley tacticking while he uses the shield wall to protect himself. But we'll let it go. Okay, now it's the infantry phase. This is where the guys with swords go out. And hopefully, great, we routed his central flank. That's awesome. There's hardly any guys over here, so we should be able to clean them up pretty quick. Boom, boom. Now they are all running away. So they're in the pursuit phase. They're running away. We're pursuing in melee. There's no real tactics, it looks like, to running away so much. But we're going to win this. And here you can see each day how many people were killed. And basically, a lot of the damage seems to be done in the pursuit phase, as they're running away and aren't protecting themselves. If we can use our cavalry to chase them down quickly, we can hurt them quite a bit. So I'll let it run again. One last day, probably, and I'm going to pause. It doesn't pause immediately after you beat them when this screen comes up. You think it might. So every time this comes up, I like to pause right on the day and just look and see what happened, especially for you guys. But we want to chase them down and finish this up. So we can see the war score went up 42% from that battle. We can also see this down here, this little icon. There'll be a bunch of them if you're in a lot of wars, but this shows you what wars you're in and what your current score is. We're positive 42 from that battle. We can click on his portrait too and see a lot about what's happened in the war. It hasn't been a lot right now, but the war score, when this gets to 100, either direction, someone wins. But battles have contributed 42%. There's been no occupation yet. We don't occupy any of their cities, but we will try to do that. And we can mouse over here and also see the war score. And what it's going to be a combination of battles and occupation. And after a certain period of time, since this claim is for this county, you'll start getting a ticking war score in favor of whoever owns this county. So if he still has control of his county, we haven't sieged through it yet, he will get a ticking war score, because all he has to do is defend, because we're attacking him. Once we have control of his county, we'll get a ticking war score in our favor, because he no longer has control of his county, and eventually that's going to move the score up to 100% in our favor. Once it reaches 100%, we can force peace. In the meantime, we can always try to get peace. Enforce demands basically just means we win, and we get those win conditions. He says, no, the war is indecisive. It's really not. That pretty much did it. We could offer white peace. He would say yes, because we have quite a bit of war score. But we don't want to do that. We want to win. The other things that happened is we gained prestige in this battle, but not us. The leaders of the battle got prestige. So it would be our leader, Ingrand de Tour, and anyone else. Probably our father. He was probably in that battle somewhere as a leader. We got no piety from that battle because we weren't fighting any infidels. We weren't fighting any enemies of the Catholic religion. But we did get a couple military technology points, nothing really to worthwhile. We can also see how many of our troops died and survived, how many of his troops died and survived, and just really specifically like which types of troops and all that kind of stuff. Okay. Now, he's running away, and his army has 0 morale. We can chase him, and we probably should, because our army has half morale. And we'll get some as we go over. But we have so many more troops that I think it's worthwhile. We can mouse over him and see that he's headed to Dublin, and he'll be there on April 20th. And we can click there as well, mouse over us, and we'll be there on May 2nd. So we'll get there 12 days after him. That's fine. Our central flank has quite a bit of morale still. It's that little baby flank on the side that's hurting. I might think about moving them to the middle just to help protect them some. But, I kind of liked how they kept that other flank out of the war for a while. So let's chase down his army. It won't be enough to win, just beating down his army, but it'll certainly help. And it gives us a chance to capture whoever is in his battles. If he's leading troops, we might capture him and really be able to end this sooner. So we can select us and see what happened. They're already running away again because the morale is so low. Oddly enough, our guys are as well on that little tiny flank. Kind of funny. Oh! Looks like... oh, well, he died of illness. It just happened to be right when the battle almost finished. Well, see you, Finn. You actually had decent state marshal. Too bad. Oh, he was the guardian. That was our marshal, which means, yeah, we have open council positions. So our son, who's 13, needs a guardian. Since we're paused, let's do that really quick, because we don't want to leave him without a guardian really for any amount of time, especially because people will start annoying us offering to be his guardian. And if we don't like them and we say no, it'll get a negative opinion modifier. So we can, from our son, we can go to conduct diplomacy, educate child, and really there's no reason why we wouldn't want him probably to be educated by the genius. Her traits aren't bad, so he has a chance to get her traits, and he also has a chance to improve in the areas where she's strong. The other option is this guy, because he has a better chance of getting a 4, a brilliant strategy, a 4, whatever you call it, focused sort of skill. I forget what we called it. My brain's kind of stopped working. If that guy has a 4. He has a very low chance of getting Midas Touch, which is the 4 in stewardship. He has much, it's possible, but he'll probably get a 1 or a 2, maybe a 3 if he studies under a 2. But I like that. They will choose, and maybe, I almost want to do it myself just to show you what it's like to be the mender, because we can do it, and various events will happen, and we can kind of decide, we can help push our son in the right direction. It'll hurt these numbers, because we have low numbers, so every birthday, he won't really improve as much as he could under someone else. But the AI is pretty random about what, even if someone's all green, they could give him a lot of red characteristics just because of the dice roll. Whereas we can control directly what he gets. So do we want him to have better traits, or do we want him to have better base stats? I don't know. It's kind of hard just because he's already not that bad in base traits. I really wish stewardship was higher. Gluttonous is hurting that quite a bit. Ambitious is balancing that out, though. So, I don't want to spend a lot of time. Maybe we just do it ourselves just so I can show you what it's like to be the guardian for somebody. Because it's fun. It really is. And I try to do it as much as possible, especially with my heirs, because I really want to make sure they don't get horrible traits. So, good. We're tutoring him now. We do need to pick a new marshal. I am going to pick this guy, but I'm not going to have him do anything because I want him to... Oh, we haven't got him married yet. I really wanted him to have the ambition to be marshal. Oh well, too bad. I'll just put him in now. So we won't have him do anything because he's leading troops and he can't do both. But this will really help our state marshal score. Okay, let's finish this battle. Great. I'll pause again real quick. You'll see we got no money from siege. What did we siege? We won the siege because we beat him while he was trying to siege us? Maybe. Anyways, got a little more war score from that, not as much. They got a little prestige, so on and so forth. We killed more of their men, not a whole lot. And we'll chase them back to Dublin, and then we'll probably just siege his lands from there. Because we can't win this war just by battles. We have to do some sieging. And you need to see what sieging is like. And he won't be able to raise any more troops once we've sat on his land and sieged it too. Though I do like completely destroying his army. Okay, this is popping up because we have Raymond del Toulouse as a character of special interest. So we'll find out more things. You know, we'll find out stuff that affects them. And it looks like he inherited a duchy. Interesting. So he will not come to our court again. We can just select him and not have him be special interest anymore. This guy, I don't care about anymore. He's too old. Okay, they still have a few men. I'm not going to chase them down. We'll finish this. A little bit more war score. Once again, we're not going to get all the way there just on battles alone. But we can look here. We can see the battles that affected the war score and how much. We could try offering peace, but he will not. He says it's just a flesh wound. Little Monty Python there. So if we stay where his holdings are, whether it's the war goal or not, if it's land he owns, we will siege. And I'm going to let time go. He's going to move and try to siege us, but he doesn't have enough people to do it, so it doesn't matter. So his defenders are based on the combination of his garrison, which is just defense that's always there in a castle or a town or a bishopric. Everyone has a garrison. And his levy. Well, he raised almost his entire levy. So there's no one there to defend, to help defend. So we're just dealing with his garrison. I mean, there's 38 people there. And once again, this is morale. It's not the number of troops. Number's right there. And our morale, for some reason, isn't quite at 100 yet. But it will. And their morale will slowly go down as long as we have more troops than them. Because we're keeping food from coming in and people can't come in and out. And eventually, you know, they're going to run out of supplies and their morale will drop to 0 and they'll give up. Now, we could assault. We have to wait a certain amount of time to get the siege weapons up. And basically that means we attack the walls. We come at them. But it really costs a lot of troops because they can easily defend against that. And the general consensus is you want to have probably, unless you're willing to take a lot of losses, you want to have 10 times as many troops if you're going to try to assault the whole thing. More is better. You can do about 5 times as many, but you're going to take huge, huge losses, and you still might lose. But you pretty much won't lose if you have 10 times as many troops as them. Attackers as they have defenders. So, our learning ambition, our learning event has happened. It says the heavens can teach us much, and you have been engrossed in the science of astronomy for the past several days. You've learned the names of the celestial bodies and the various constellations, and how to use the stars for navigation. Your learning has improved. Yay! And we have fulfilled our ambition to improve learning, which means we get another 100 prestige, and we get to choose another ambition. I'm going to pause real quick. Actually, let that go. There's nothing to do about that. Now, what do we want to do? Once again, I would just want to get as close as we get the next closest one. We probably won't need Marshall again anytime soon. Stewardship is very important. We're going to have some more holdings. We won't be over our limit. We'll be at 2 instead of 3 once we win this war. But good stewardship is always a good idea. So let's improve stewardship. I'm going to tab out and just see, okay, we're at 24 minutes. I don't mind letting this one go to 30 just to finish the war. I'm kind of surprised he didn't go attack our ally there and just clean up those 15 men since he's doing nothing. But he's going to sit there. And to kind of prove the point, we can look at these holdings and see, even though we've raised our levies, we have 648 garrison. So his 153 men wouldn't be able to do anything. We'd be able to run stuff past him. He wouldn't be able to siege us. If we mouse over, we see that their morale is going down it's going down 4% every 12 days. And that's affected by their fort level, how much more troops we have than them, and our technology, like our siege technology. Once again, we'll get into technology later when it matters. But really, if we had like 10 times as many troops as them, this still wouldn't be moving much more than 4%, because they're sieged either way. Bishoprics in towns, cities, their morale drops much faster. And the reason for that is the fort level. So their fort level here is 4.5. This bishopric, the fort level is 1. Their walls are low. They can't really do much about it. This fort level is 0.8. So once we get through this, these will go much faster, assuming we have enough troops. Their garrison plus their levy comes out to about 900 troops, so we can siege that. This garrison and that one actually comes out to about 1050, which we can also siege, but it's getting close. So the large numbers of the famished defenders in Nakakulan have succumbed to starvation, so their defender number dropped. I mean, it still doesn't affect their morale any, but they have less defenders. If it was close, we could try to assault them, but it's not. And we'll just wait. We'll wait the 12 days. We can speed up time a little bit because nothing else is going on. And actually went down to 3.9. But, 4% every 12 days is a little more than 8% a month, which isn't too bad. We will be out of this in approximately 3 months. And we can go really fast. Oh, okay, so my trusted, devoted Chamberlain has just brought to my attention that one of the serving maids have given birth to a child. According to him, my son is the father. We never got you married? I thought we did get him married. Didn't we do that? Oh, this is the middle guy. Sorry. That's the guy we got married. So, this guy's, he didn't even come to us and ask to get him married. Because he has this become steward ambition. Yeah, with fourth stewardship, you're going to become steward, buddy. Sure. So, since we're lustful, we can turn him lustful. Just say, that's my boy. Like father, like son. We lose 10 piety. He likes us more because we said what he did was okay by 25 for 2 years, and he becomes lustful. I mean, I want more people to an extent. I want more people in our dynasty, but I mean, I don't know if I necessarily want him making much. Those are pretty bad numbers. We could force him to adopt the baby, and that would get us 10 piety. Because we did, quote-unquote, the right thing. And he would dislike us by 20 for 2 years because we made him take responsibility for his actions. His infant that he sired would come to court, and he would lose 10 prestige. We could just beat the crap out of him for messing around with inferiors. He doesn't like being beaten. He would gain wrath, and he would gain ambitious. I don't want this guy to be ambitious. I don't care if he's wrath, but I don't want him thinking that he can take the title. I don't want him to be our heir. And we can send him to confess his sins. That makes him chaste. He's less likely to have kids, even when he is married. And that's it. I like that. Let's make him chaste. I mean, I don't want him having babies. So, we siege. What happens there? Well, we lost some people during the siege, which is unfortunate. But we gained 13 gold from his holding. We sacked it. And we're leaving some people behind, just in case if we left, there'll be some people there that are ours. So like if we left right now, he could come in and siege this because there's only 46 troops here. And over time, it'll get, as you can see, 59 per month. Now he's at 99% war score. We can see that that has to do... Oh, I was paused. That has to do with our occupation of his main holding. And eventually we'll get a ticking war score that'll go to 100% by itself. And here you can also see who's in the war. That's our father that's joining us in the war. He still will not let us enforce demands, but in 1% we can force him to do so. Now, we may just want to sit here and get a little gold from getting through his city as well. We can just barely do it based on our troop level. But you can see, even though we barely have more troops than them, it's going down 10% every 12 days. So like 25% or just under that per month. So even if we don't get the ticking war score in time for just having his county, we'll get to 100% easily just by getting this city. And we'll get a little more gold. Now you can see that we hold this holding because our flag is in the middle here. That means we're in control. And yes, the AI, when they're losing everything, this guy's going to have no, like, his dynasty's over. He's going to have no land. He would have a claim on this land, a strong claim. But, you know, chances are we'll never have to worry about him again. But he will take us to 100% because he's losing everything. He's not going to give up until we basically force him to. So hopefully you guys learned a good amount. When this is over, I'm going to end the episode. We'll show you what happens when you get the county, but we'll deal with administrating it afterwards. We won't have to do much, but we'll have some new vassals and stuff. But hopefully this helped you quite a bit when it comes to war, how to call in allies, how to make sure that you win, make sure you have good. It's so important to have good leaders in your armies now. We would lose. We would have lost if we tried to lead that army by ourselves. It's also important to watch the flanks and stuff. It hurt us quite a bit not having that one flank. So, you know, battles are much more strategic now, and there's a lot to think about, and you can really mess up if you forget to put the right leaders in charge. And if you don't organize your troops right into the right levies and such. So just a couple more days and we'll win this. Hopefully, if you're playing alongside, you win yours as well. It may be good to save before your war when this is your first time. You will be thoroughly routed if you lose. But he doesn't have a claim on you. He wouldn't be able to attack you, but you'd have a truce with him. You wouldn't be able to attack him for another... I think it's 5 years, typically. So, we took that city. We got another 13 gold. We didn't lose anybody that time. That was nice. As you can see, we don't have enough, that exclamation point, we don't have enough attackers to siege his last holding. Actually, that was the bishopric. We don't have enough attackers to take his city. But it doesn't matter. We got him to 100%, and we can force him to surrender. They're totally beaten. So, we will get only 62.58 prestige because our father will get some prestige from joining in. He helped us. And you can see on the war score that we contributed 63%. That's where we're getting that prestige number. Based on the number... you know, honestly, I don't know exactly how that is based. I know how it used to be. Now... I'm not particularly sure. That looks more like just kind of a score thing. It's not the number of men. It used to have to do with the number of men. But that's why we aren't getting our full 100 prestige, which is fine. Our father deserves some prestige. He's going to lose 100 of his, so it's going to make it very difficult for him to press his claim. Even if he could find someone to press it for him, he's going to just have a hard time getting anyone to even like him. I guess it's not going to be that difficult. He's only losing 1 opinion point with everybody. And we gain the county. So let's send. Immediately we get that. We win. Yay! And we can close that and click around and the map updates. And we can see we have both these holdings. They're both green. We hold this castle. That's us. We own it. We do have 2 new vassals. These are the same vassals that the other guy had. So... well, we're going to start with this next time, but just kind of one of the things you want to look at. Sorry, I clicked the wrong button. Now we have 4 vassals. Just make sure they like us, that the mayors are going to pay us. Man, that guy doesn't like the Pope at all. He's loyal to an anti-Pope. Very interesting. I didn't realize we had an anti-Pope. Doesn't look like we do. Is he a heretic? Let's look at this guy. No, he's Catholic. Loyal to Cockcobar. Was that the guy that used to own this? Not Dublin. Kildare, history, Cocknobar. Okay, maybe we just need to let the timer go a little bit and it'll update. The game can be a little weird when it's paused on something new. It takes a little while to update. So anyways, I hope that was useful for you. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I will do my best to answer them. And please come on back and see what we need to do with these. Can we create a duchy? How do we make sure our vassals, continue to like us? What's going on? So look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks for watching.